iPhone 7 or Galaxy S7, what should you buy? Long-term review. That video is coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. And should you buy an iPhone 7 or a Samsung Galaxy S7? Now this video comes off a few subscribers asking me this question, Nick. You know, I know the iPhone 8, the Galaxy Note 8, these phones are coming out, but I want to get last year's flagship finally, the iPhone 7 or the Galaxy S7. And we're going to discuss that here in this video. Let's begin with the key specs. So on the iPhone 7, you're going to get a 4.7-inch display. This is 334 or 332 PPI here for the iPhone 7, and you're gonna get a 12 megapixel camera on the rear, 2 gigs of RAM, and an Apple A10 Fusion chip, 1960 milliamp hour battery. Those are the key specs there. Now for the Samsung Galaxy S7, you are gonna get a 5.1-inch 2K panel. This is a 12 megapixel camera with 4K video recording capabilities, 4 gigs of RAM, Exynos 8890 CPU, or Snapdragon 820 if you are in the United States. 3000 milliamp hour battery here on this guy. So the S7 is pretty much loaded with a lot of specifications here, whereas the iPhone 7 is also loaded with Apple's latest and greatest. So now let's get into the body and the build. Okay guys, so let's talk about the body and the build of both of these phones. So both of these phones are extremely premium. Without talking too much about the specifications of them, you know, like the weight and all that, both of these phones feel extremely premium. Now, the iPhone 7 does give you the classic aluminum body Apple's been doing for eons, and the Galaxy S7 gives you a sandwich glass around 7000 series aluminum on the sides, and a pretty nice curvy, you know, lips at the top. So you see it kind of like curves in. You know, this was Samsung introducing itself to the symmetrical design that we have on the S8, and it's not fully symmetrical here, but this was like the stepchild to that. So definitely a really solid design here. You can see that I'm swinging more towards the S7. Now I'm thinking that the iPhone 7 here is a pretty solid design overall. You know, it's clean, it's classy here on the iPhone 7, but I think over the long term, every time I pick up the S7, it just feels better in the hand. It feels more premium. So if you're picking up one of these in terms of the premium nature, the glass back on the S7 is more prone to, you know, crack if you drop it. So the iPhone 7 gets a win there for its aluminum back. But overall, I think the more premium feeling phone is the Galaxy S7. If you're going to buy one here a year later, it still feels like a phone over the long term I pick up. I feel like Samsung put more, you know, into it. Now, the iPhone 7 is the safe choice though. So whether you go with either one of these in terms of the body and the build, you know, they're both going to feel extremely premium. So there's no clear winner here. But I think overall, if I was to choose a winner, so this would be my subjective perspective, I would pick the Galaxy S7. Now, in terms of weight, the iPhone 7 does have the leg up over the S7. It actually feels quite a bit lighter. You know, it's 138 grams versus 152 grams. So it's significantly lighter than the S7, even though they look about the same size. So if you want a lighter phone, you got to go with the iPhone 7 here. So that's pretty much my take on the body and the builds. Both of these are going to give you IP60 ratings on water resistance. You're going to get IP68 here for the S7, IP67. So IP68 just means dust water resistance. This is a more powerful version of that. So if you guys are out and about and you want your phone to get wet, dust proof, all that kind of stuff, you know, you're going to be safer on the S7. So keep that in mind when it comes to these phones. Okay, so let's talk about their display. So like I said earlier, 4.7-inch display there on the iPhone 7, and we do have a 5.1-inch display here. So on the iPhone 7, this is basically the same display you get on the iPhone 6. Only difference is it's better calibrated. So the colors are P3 color gamut. So they definitely look a little bit more well balanced than the 6. It's not, you know, an extremely warm or extremely cool display. It seems just about right. So I think that this display also gets plenty bright. So it's extremely bright here on the iPhone 7, and overall viewing angles are excellent on this device. So if you are picking up an iPhone 7, you're going to get a solid, really good display here. Now, the issue I have with the iPhone 7 is its resolutions. At 326 PPI, I can definitely see the pixels now that I've seen a 2K panel. So, you know, some people are going to disagree and say, you can't see past that. Well, I can see it. I don't know why, but my eyes can see like little jagged edges around the text on the iPhone 7 in comparison to something like the Galaxy S7. This thing is pushing 2K display. This is over 530 pixels per inch here on this device. This is ridiculous on that regard. This is also an AMOLED display here, which can go into really deep blacks and looks great with media. So I think 9 times out of 10, you show a person the S7 display next to the iPhone 7 display, there's no contest. The S7 is going to be your better display. So I'm going to say for those long-term users, if you want a display for gaming and media, the S7 is the better display. If you rather have a great display for photography, like if you're taking a lot of pictures, I think the iPhone 7 might have the edge due to its P3 color gamut. So photographers, you're going to get more accurate, natural looking pictures and, display when you're editing videos and pictures on your iPhone. And on the Galaxy S7, you're just gonna have a better media experience, going through the contents and stuff like that. So that's how I'm gonna sum these displays up. Okay guys, so let's take a second to talk about their software. So of course the iPhone 7 is gonna give you iOS 10.3.3 here. You're also gonna go ahead and get the iOS 11 updates that are gonna be coming later this year in the fall, in a couple of months here actually. So you can see if I hit software update, I am on the latest 10.3.3. On the Galaxy S7, a lot of people like to knock Samsung for their software updates being slow, but they actually got the 7.0 update out to the Galaxy S7 series quite quickly here, so I have to give them credit for that. They were on it when it comes to the software for the S7. So the S7 runs basically pretty current software of Android. So in terms of the updates, we're going to have to see if Samsung pushes Android 8.0 to the S7 quickly. I think they will due to how fast they push Nougat, but still I think software-wise, over the long haul, you're going to get better updates here with the iPhone 7. So a lot of people like to say, well, that's the long-term phone. Well, if they push Android 8.0 here on the Samsung Galaxy S7, that's going to last, at least a couple of years. Android, the application, just because your software updates doesn't mean that your applications don't work. So a lot of Play Store applications will be continued to support Nougat for years. So, that's something there. I'm not trying to say Android is a better software than Apple or vice versa. Apple's better than Android. But over the long haul, Apple's going to have to win this one when it comes to software, unless we see otherwise, which we probably won't due to the fragmentation of Android. But the software itself, though, of course, Samsung software, this is very close to what the S8 is giving you right now with the Nougat update. And there's a lot of customization, a theme store here on the S7, whereas iOS is, well, it's iOS. It's polished, it's smooth, it works, it's reliable. But both of these phones are extremely reliable. Using both of these, they feel about the same in terms of reliability, smoothness, speed, and stuff like that. And over the long haul, I haven't had issues with speed or crashing or lagging or overheating like a lot of people like to knock Samsung for. Haven't had that issue on mine. Now, of course, I do maintain mine. I do clean it out. I clean the cache and stuff like that, which I think everyone should do. It's a computer, basically. You should even delete old apps on an iPhone and clean it up from time to time. But anyway, software here, I'm going to give it the win to Apple for updates. I'm going to give the win to Samsung for customizability as well as theming and stuff like that. So this one really comes down to your personal preference on the software. But honestly, Apple's going to have to win this one for the long-term updates. Okay, so here's the thing. You have two 12-megapixel cameras here that are capable of shooting it up to 4K video resolution. Now, I have an extensive experience with both of these devices, and I want to explain to you why I think the Galaxy S7 is the better camera here. So the iPhone 7 is a great camera. I'm not going to knock it. If you buy an iPhone 7, more than likely you're going to take your photos. You're going to be happy with your photos. But I think you're going to be ultra happy with the photos with the Galaxy S7. I'm going to tell you why. The focusing speed on this camera is ridiculous. So let me pull this mouse in over here. This is an MX Master mouse. Another thing is the quick launch feature. So if I go like this, I'm quickly into the camera here on the S7, but just watch this focusing speed. So the focusing speed is just on point here for the Galaxy S7. It just locks in the focus like it's nothing. Now, the iPhone 7, also a solid focusing camera. It ain't bad, but I just think that that focusing speed on the Galaxy S7 is, just a little bit better than on the iPhone 7. Now, the iPhone 7 is going to produce more natural, warm-looking pictures, whereas the S7 is pretty, tweakable. I mean, you got all these modes in there, and you can really change the display and kind of get the picture how you want it to look. Now, a lot of people say, well, those are oversaturated. they're oversaturated when you're looking at the picture on the phone. When you push it up to a computer, the pictures start to look about the same on both devices. So keep that in mind. I do think overall though, you get more with the Samsung Galaxy S7 camera while beating it on quality over the iPhone 7. Now, some people are going to disagree, and I understand, you're going to say, well, my iPhone 7 has incredible video stabilization. Well, so does the S7. It's got OIS as well. So both of them are extremely good. I think that the iPhone 7 does better slow-mo video, better time-lapsing than the S7. But other than that, pictures alone, I'm going with the S7 if I had to take one of these phones out on the town. But that's just my take. You might differ, but you're looking for a long-term review. Long-term, I've enjoyed the S7 a little bit more than the iPhone 7. So that's for the camera.
Okay, guys, so I do have to discuss the battery life here, and I know it sounds like I'm leaning more towards Samsung, but this one I just got to be totally honest with you. The S7 has better battery life. There's just no doubt about it. 1960 milliamp hour battery here versus a 3000 milliamp hour battery. That's too much of a spread for the iPhone 7 to have better battery life. I easily get more on-screen time on the S7 than I do on the iPhone 7. Now, at first, when I first got the S7, it wasn't the best battery life in the world. After calibrating the battery a few times, the S7 has easily outlasted this phone. This phone, I'm looking for a charge at around 6, 7 p.m. This guy, I can get through the day, if I'm monitoring myself, not going a little bit too hard on the phone. So if you're looking for a better battery life phone, the Samsung Galaxy S7 is better than the iPhone 7 in my experience. I'm not saying it was better for you if you might have used these two phones. The low power mode I think is a little bit more effective on the iPhone 7 though. So their low power mode is more effective. Over here though, you do have the power saving. When you go to max though, that's where the Samsung Galaxy S7 becomes a little bit more effective than the iPhone 7. So you can go to the max ultra power saving mode basically here on the S7, and then that becomes better than low power mode. But for the basic power modes, this one is better than the S7. So keep that in mind. You do get longer battery life on the S7. Throw this guy in the low power mode though, you might get close to the S7 in terms of battery life. So for a 1960 milliamp hour battery, the iPhone 7 is solid, but it's just not touching the S7. So keep that in mind if you're picking up one of these. You're going to get better battery life with the S7, and also includes wireless charging as well as fast charging. So that's another great touch for the Galaxy S7. So the S7 wins there.
Okay, guys, so talking about these phones in terms of their gaming prowess. So this is a clear win for the iPhone 7. The Galaxy S7, while it can game pretty greatly, it can handle most heavy games on the market store. Definitely can handle that stuff. The iPhone 7 just seems to run games a little bit smoother. So if you are going to be playing games here, I definitely have to say skip out on the S7, go with the iPhone 7. You're going to have a much better experience playing video games or mobile games on your phone. This phone is going to run them for a long time. It's going to run them smooth, fast, and efficient. So pick up the iPhone 7 if you're looking to win in the gaming department here over the S7. Now, the S7 is going to give you probably a better screen experience. So if you don't care about the little speed and smoothness and refinement, and you're going to be upgrading your phone soon anyway, and you just want the best experience with the screen, I think the Galaxy S7 is going to give you a better experience than the iPhone 7 in gaming when it comes to how vibrant the colors are within your game. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but still I have to give the iPhone 7 a win here for the games. Okay, guys, so let's talk about a little bit of miscellaneous things, just little things that, one phone or the other has over the other. So the iPhone 7 is going to give you 3D touch over the S7. You don't get that feature on the Galaxy S7, although some of the Google apps are starting to get it. If you hold down the application, it still doesn't do anything really. Some of them though, Google is optimizing, like the YouTube application, for example. It does bounce a little bit, gives you some app info, but 3D touch is a win there for the iPhone 7 if you're into that whole extra feature stuff. Now you do get Samsung Pay here on the Galaxy S7, which is, I think, much more accurate than Apple Pay. So keep that in mind. If you are using mobile payment system, you're going to win here on the Galaxy S7. Now also you get the always on display here feature. You don't get that on the iPhone 7, and that's customizable. They got several different clocks. You can put pictures of you and your your girlfriend, your girl, your boyfriend. You can put your family member in there, whatever you like to put in there. It's got that feature as well. Now, the S7, I think, is going to give you a worse speaker phone quality. So if you're looking for a speaker phone that's really good, go with the iPhone 7. It has front-facing speakers. This one has a kind of a, dull speaker down. It's loud, but the water resistance blocked a little bit of the sound on the S7. So, audio quality is going to the iPhone 7 here. The Galaxy S7 is going to give you a headphone jack. You're not going to get that here on the iPhone 7. So those of you who love your headphone jack, just skip out the iPhone 7 altogether. It's not going to make you happy, and it doesn't seem to be an issue, when you first get it. But once you start losing that dongle, you're going to know, man, where is my headphone jack? And you're going to be like, come on, man, Apple, really? So keep that in mind as well. Now, like I said, the iPhone 7 is going to give you the better gaming performance, but overall, let's wrap this thing up. Which is the better phone? A lot of times people want a direct answer, but with these smartphones, it's really hard to give you a direct answer because your likes are different than my likes. But if you want a direct answer, I'm giving you a direct answer right here. Go with the Galaxy S7 between these phones. And I just think there's too much in this phone, that gives you, for the price point, you're actually going to find an S7 for a cheaper price than the iPhone 7. There's just too much in this phone, especially when it comes down in the price point. And if you find it at a third party, to skip it over or to buy the iPhone 7 over it. The iPhone 8 is going to come out and your iPhone 7 is going to feel dated. The Galaxy S7 actually holds its own quite well to the later Samsung devices. The only thing that changed really was the Infinity display, but in terms of the 2K panel, the amazing camera, the decent battery life, fast charging, wireless charging, the S7 is loaded. So that's my direct answer here if you wanted a direct answer. I'm not knocking the iPhone 7. That's a great device right there. So if you love Apple, go with that one. But that's my direct answer. The Galaxy S7 is the better phone over the long term. Do you guys disagree with my opinions here? Do you disagree with my feedback? Do you think the iPhone 7 is better? I know some people are going to argue just because of iOS and the software being polished that it's a better smartphone. That can be an argument. Some people are going to say that, but to me, that's not the biggest deal because, I'm not keeping a phone for 5 years. I mean, you might, but what's the chances that a phone's just going to stop working just because the software didn't get updated? I'm pretty sure it's still going to work. I've seen people using a Samsung Galaxy S4 these days, so it's not as big as a deal as I think a lot of people like to make it out to be. But anyway, this is the Galaxy S7 versus the iPhone 7, iPhone 7 versus Galaxy S7 long-term review. Should you buy it? Anyway, Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I will catch you all in the next episode. Comments, feedback, questions, concerns down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subs if you loved it. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.